What's going on, random TV people out there in the world? Bring you another good episode. Let's check this out now. Kick off your shoes, relax your feet, and let's dial in. Here's another good one.
For about 9 years, according to your complaint. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
What was his name?
Leo McCullum.
And you used to be married to Mr. McCullum. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
When were you divorced from Mr. McCullum?
In 92.
And you have children with Mr. McCullum.
Yes, I do.
How many children do you have?
I have 4 of my own natural children and 1 that I raised from his previous marriage.
Did Mr. McCullum ever have custody of his children?
Yes, at one time, yes.
When he was living with the plaintiff?
Yes, part of the time. Since 96, he had custody.
Which child or children lived with you?
Danielle, Samantha, and Joanna.
So 3 of the girls
Yes, ma'am.
lived with you. Now, according to your complaint, Mr. McCullum attempted to murder you by pouring lighter fluid on you and setting you on fire. Mr. McCullum is currently incarcerated, serving a term of 30 years to life. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
How long were you hospitalized?
A total of 4 months.
Yes, random TV people, you heard right. Her own husband tried to set her on fire and light her ablaze. Good God.
And took all of the property out of the house.
Yes, ma'am.
When you returned home, there was very little there.
I never returned.
Did you ever go back to see what was in the house?
No, ma'am.
Well,
Now, I don't know if you remember the episode with the woman who had the mental breakdown. She deserves to have a breakdown. Her husband tried to light her on fire.
get to your witness. Mrs. McCullum says that all the property that was in that house belonged to her former husband, and she was entitled to take it. Is that right?
No, Your Honor. I never.
So she was married to a psychopath too. Did he try to burn her, or was she like an exception? That's her daughter? I don't see the resemblance. She's hot.
Can verify as to what Mrs.
So it's
Costello.
your position that you took nothing from the house except your children's clothing?
That's right.
Okay, now I'll hear your witness. So would you step up, please? Tell me your name.
Terry Way.
Miss Way, tell me what you know about the plaintiff's property.
Well, I know that they lived together for almost 10 years, and they acquired furniture.
Now, y'all remember the woman who had the nervous breakdown of the other episode that I did? This woman is the one who deserves to have the mental breakdown.
I did not actually see her take it, no ma'am.
So how do you know she has it?
I went there 3 days after she was in the coma to get her belongings from the house and saw that the house had already been ransacked. And there was only 3 people that had keys to the house. Leo, who was in jail, Piper, who was in the coma, and the children. So the children, maybe Paula, I didn't see them actually take it, but they're the only ones.
God bless her daughter because she looks so much better than her mom.
Key to get into the house?
I didn't actually get into the house. I saw it through the windows.
Did you try to get into the house?
Yes, I did.
Was the door locked?
Yes, it was.
What floors could you see from the window where you were looking?
Mostly the living room and the kitchen.
And had you been to the house before?
Yes, I had.
So what kind of furniture had been there in the living room previously?
There was a couch and a love seat, a dining room set. That's all I can think of at the time.
And all of that was gone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm with you, Miss Heyer.
Hey, tell me if it's me or not, but does she look like she'd be in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie?
For a witness, the first time we were allowed into the home, I wasn't even allowed. It was still under crime scene by the police for at least a week. The second day of this, I had to go by the home to have my daughter go in pick up some medicine. She was escorted in by the police. At that time, I wasn't able to even go into the home.
And what about the third day?
I have no idea.
I wonder if the husband ever got abusive with her or tried to do anything bad with her.
Detective's name at the time where we could go in and remove the children's clothes.
We've underlined the 2 sections that apply.
Well, this is a copy of a newspaper article. This indicates that Mr. McCullum at some point was free on bond of $300,000. So he was freed awaiting trial for
Yes,
a period of time?
Yes, ma'am, almost a year.
When was bail set?
Bail was set, I believe, at the time that he was arrested, but between his attorneys, they wanted it reduced, but our side said no.
Doesn't make any difference. He was free on bail.
Yes, ma'am, but that happened 3 weeks after. He was in jail for 3 weeks before he was released on bond. And I have another.
See, even Judge Judy was like, wow, I can't believe he was even free for doing something like that.
The defendant says she doesn't have them. I don't know whether she has them or not, but there has to be some proof that she has them, because there are possibly other explanations as to what happened to the property. I'll get to that in a minute. What's your name?
Danielle.
Danielle, did you originally lie to the police about this fire?
Yes.
You originally lied to the police and told...
Oh, she must be a daddy's girl. She lied for the dad. She must be a daddy's girl.
Danielle McCullum said that she was standing 5 feet from her father and O'Neill in a neighbor's yard when the woman burst into flames. She said she didn't see a lighter in either of their hands. Later, she said she originally told the detective she had been in her room when O'Neill caught fire. She told the jury Wednesday she lied because she was scared.
That's
right?
true.
So why would I believe anything she says?
Ma'am, I never got a phone call. I never got a card asking how I was doing or anything. Nothing. After 9 years.
After 9 years and 3 of the children living with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, they must not be very nice
I had
people.
my very bad faults, but
Her
after
brother,
that,
she drunk.
Excuse me? Listen,
She was an alcoholic.
well, there
Just
had to be
out of
some
sitting
reason
in the
why,
house.
listen to me, madam, she may not be perfect, but there had to be some reason why your 3 girls chose to live with their father instead of you. There had to be some reason.
There is. I was incarcerated.
Well, that's a very good reason.
It's crazy how the woman in white just tried to throw her under the bus with that drinking comment. It's also interesting that the kids went to go live with the dad, but he burns women on his spare time. I'm confused. It sounds like she takes up for the ex-husband. I'm confused.
She says it wasn't her. It certainly wasn't you. That leaves old Leo. Now, what could Leo have done? Could Leo have given his attorney the key to the house and said to his attorney, in case she makes it, I don't want her to have anything? He could have done that. Maybe even sent it over to her house. Who knows? Anybody who was crazy enough to do what he did could do anything. And clearly, if he was out on $300,000 bond, he had some money. Where did he get the money from for $300,000 bond? From his parents.
oh yeah.
So he could have given his parents the key to the house.
They weren't there yet.
They're out of state.
It doesn't make any difference. Gotten it to them, said one way or another, you get into that house and take everything out of that house. I don't want, in case she gets better, I don't want her to have a thing.
Can she explain about Nancy, the woman that actually saw them taking the stuff in and out?
Well, I would like to hear a witness if you have that witness. Where is that witness?
She was reached by telephone, but apparently she couldn't make it here.
Why? Who is she?
She's Leo's cousin's wife.
She came to see me in the hospital quite frequently while I was waiting for her to come out of her coma.
Well,
got
why
the
can't she be
unicorn.
here?
She said that she would be here, but she had to talk it over with her husband, and we think that when she did that, and since he's related to Leo, that they didn't want her to show up here because it would be a...
Of course, she was scared. She was like, I'm not about to... I see what he did to her. I'm not about to end up in the hospital, too.
Problem? What?
I know where the furniture went.
Well, then let me hear you.
Okay. Leo's brother, McCollum, had put everything into storage because the landlord had got a hold of him stating that he was going to trash anything and everything that was left in the house because the rent was due. So took the stuff from the house, put it into storage. I have the receipts where he
Can I see
paid
it,
storage
please?
for 10 months.
And when was that done?
Just a second. Here we go.
And I was never
Okay,
notified.
so Leo's brother
Yes,
took the stuff and put it in storage.
yes. Which he paid storage on for 10 months before he took it out.
Well, where is it now?
It's at his residence in Ozark.
The brother just want her to come over so he could try to finish the job. I don't trust that at all. I'm not going to get that bull crap.
Those household goods. McCullum removed and put in storage in August of 1999. I kept it in storage for 10 months, which then I moved some of the property into storage in my house. Let us make copies of the storage receipts. Let us make a copy of this before the plaintiff leaves today. Now you know where your stuff is. You know where your furniture is.
Maybe the furniture, but my clothes, I mean, they had a habit of stealing stuff out of my closet.
I know, but you can't prove that. We're talking about major stuff now. I mean, I can't say whether they took your clothes, whether they took your shirts, whether they took whatever. The brother went into the house, according to his own letter. He went into the house. That's what I said. I said, Could have turned this key over to a relative, to his parents, to his brother, and said, get it out of there. I don't want her to have anything, because I'm going to spend the rest of my life in jail anyway. Hopefully.
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 I'll be there to see it.
Right. So, here's this. Try again. Wrong defendant. Got it? Make sure she gets that. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'll be there to see this man in prison for the rest of his life, and I will.
She didn't never work. She didn't pay for the booze she drank every day. She didn't pay for anything. Nothing in that house was hers.
I'm surprised she didn't get more sympathy from the judge. That daughter was extra. I wouldn't trust her. She probably did lie to the cops. Now, this one is going to be funny, so just pay attention to this one. The guy and the girl in this one is funny, in my opinion.
Wells, according to what I've read, sir, you and the defendant had a glorious 11-year relationship. Sometimes on, sometimes off. Now it's off. It's over. But about 2 years ago, when it was over, it is your claim that Miss Howells, while you were incarcerated on some kind of domestic dispute, she stole all of your personal property. So that's the first part of your lawsuit, that you want your personal property from 2 years ago.
Yes.
Then, more recently, in 2002, you got back together again. And you claim that you proposed marriage, and you gave her a ring. And then a month or so later, the relationship ended for good, so you want the ring back.
Yes.
Miss Howells says that
I don't know what it is about toxic relationships always being off and on.
But she says she deserves the ring after 11 years of being with you. And she's claiming, because which is the date of the final breakup, that you assaulted her, and she wants to be compensated for her pain and suffering, whatever medical bill she has. So I'm not going to get into what you say Miss Howells took 2 years ago. And I'm going to tell you why, sir. Have you been incarcerated for the last 2 years?
No.
Then would you like to tell me why you did not pursue this matter for 2 years?
Well, Your Honor.
I know who I am, so just tell me why.
Why is the reason why?
If you know Judge Judy, you know rule number one is always keep an eye contact. If not, she thinks you're lying.
These things that I want are things that I bought with my own money. I've paid Ms. Howells numerous amounts of cash and dining and trips to Mexico, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and I've been slapped in the face, and I'd like to have my things back.
Well, you should have been more vigilant, Mr. Wells. Courts are set up to deal with divorces. They're not set up to deal with almost marrieds, almost togethers, 11-year relationships that don't pan out. You had 2 years in which to act, you didn't. But I'm going to get to the ring for a second. Where's the ring, Miss Howells?
The ring, I returned to Costco in Medford, Oregon, and gave them a picture of the attack of my right arm, and they returned the money to me.
How much money did they return?
$1,099.
That's what you owe him. $1,099. Is that what you paid for the ring, Mr. Wells?
Yes.
An engagement ring is given in anticipation of getting married. You didn't get married, you don't keep the ring or the value thereof because you returned the ring. You don't keep the cash because you feel as if you deserve it. You don't. If you're foolish enough to live with somebody who abuses you and who makes your life miserable, that's your problem. You don't get to keep the ring. So you get $1,099, sir, on your complaint.
Okay.
Now we're going to get to your counterclaim. I want you to tell me what happened in November when you claimed that Mr. Wells assaulted you.
Okay, Mr. Wells and I, being he was having some behavior problems, I was going to drive us to a Christian marriage counseling. It was a 2-day seminar. We tried to find the place where it was going to take place and could not find it. So
I don't know who else caught that, but she just rolled her eyes in mid-conversation. Never
forget
seen
about
that.
it. So we went to dinner, had a couple drinks, and then on the way home, we stopped at this nightclub. It's a steakhouse nightclub. He started verbally accusing me things of looking at some guy in the bar and things like that, starting a fight. And I was having a good time. And anyway, so we get to my home, and it escalated. So we get out of the car, go in the house, and he all of a sudden just turned into a totally different person and told me that, called me some names, and then he told me he was going to kick that TV in, the big screen TV, and he was going to slap me in my face, and he was going to walk out the door and get a taxi and go home. Well, he didn't have any money. So he grabbed my phone and proceeded out the door with it. I said, give me my phone back. Anyway, he slammed it down on the cement. I said, Scott, calm down. He came back inside my home, and he just was out of control. I said, I will give you the money to take a taxi, you know, if that's your big, you know, thing. I go, why can't you just get along with me and we can just, you know, work this out? You know, why do you have to be like this? And anyway, he grabbed my purse at one time, ran to the door, and then I ran after him and got my purse away because I had some money in it. We kind of backed up. I kind of backed to my kitchen counter, and I just, something in my heart told me I just better make it to the door and scream because of the way he was carrying on and going out of his mind. And anyway, so I ran to the door, got the door open. I opened the door with my right hand, and he immediately, and I got to scream out for help, and he immediately grabbed my right arm. It's really hard, and he covered up my mouth, dragged me to my office. It's a second bedroom I use for my office. He dragged me in there.
Why do weak-looking people like him always end up being woman abusers?
You know, please, you know, tell him I left, you know, because actually when he grabbed me on my arm and grabbed me around my face, I thought he was going to kill me.
Okay, so he grabbed you by the arm, put his hands across your mouth and said, please don't scream because the police are going to come.
Yes.
Tell them I'm not here.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, so then the police came, and anyway, he hid in my closet, and they pulled him out of the closet, but he had put something in one of my shoes.
What did he put in one of your shoes?
I have the police report, Your Honor.
What did he put in your shoe?
Meth, drugs.
Drugs. So who was arrested?
He was arrested.
What about
I didn't
you?
press charges.
What about you?
No, I went in and did a urinalysis in my bathroom. They gave me the cup, and I'm clean. You know,
What about him?
No, they took him to jail.
Judge Judy.
He looked like, dang it, I know it's going to hurt my dang case. Shoot! But just stick along, people. I promise you'll get better. It's going to get funny. I promise you. Just stick around for me, okay?
That doesn't mean anything if she knew you were going in the hallway, Miss Davis.
Yes, Your Honor. This is how it was.
No, it wasn't. Stop making it up as you're going along.
People. Judge Judy.
Charles Scott Wells says ex-fiancée Linda Howells owes for the return of property and an engagement ring. Linda says he bought the ring at Costco and she returned it.
All right, Mr. Wells, let's hear your version of the events of the 3rd of November, 2002.
Well, I call this the abuse of the legal system, and here's why. Ms. Howells had made a statement to her neighbor, if I'm murdered, then it's my boyfriend who did it. Well, that was early in the afternoon. Ms. Howells picks me up that evening, takes me out to dinner, takes me back to her house, goes outside, screams help, I get arrested. That's the short version of it. I mean, that's just one incident.
Her face looked just like the rest of ours, like, you didn't say nothing. Where's your case? What are we here for?
Sue crazy. She's got 7 lawsuits going. Here's one that's just recent, a whiplash case.
Shh, I'm not interested in a whiplash case. Let me see proof, sir.
This from here in the second page.
Why were you hiding in the closet?
The reason I was hiding in the closet is because of an incident that happened 2 years ago that was similar to this, where she had called the police, had me arrested, said that I had threatened her. I went to jail, and that's when I lost my belongings out of my house.
So is that why you were hiding? What about the drugs?
The drugs, I don't do drugs now as isolated incidents.
Just a second. What were the drugs doing in her shoe?
I had put them there.
Why?
Because when Miss Howells opened the door for the police, she said, he's hiding in the closet.
Well, what were you doing walking around with the drugs?
I was on my way.
Methamphetamine. What were you doing walking around with?
It was a foolish mistake, Your Honor. I mean, it was something I am very embarrassed about.
What did you plan to do with it, sir?
Pardon?
I mean, were you going to frame it?
I was going to snort it.
Had you snorted any of it before?
In the past?
Yes.
No, I'm not a drug user. It's
so this was an...
Did he think the judge or anybody in this world would believe that this was a one-time thing?
When you got to the precinct?
Yes.
Is it negative or positive?
I'm not sure what the results were.
Really? All right. Let me see your injuries, please.
Okay. And here's a copy of the police report, what happened. And then there's that on my arm. And then the incident of it was actually a year prior, November 23rd, 2001.
I'm not interested in what happened the year before. I'm not interested in his property that happened the year before. I'm not interested.
Okay.
Oh, this is a bad...
Okay, so he did grab her pretty good. Honestly, I didn't really believe her at first, but okay. I guess she did get hurt.
1997 on my shoulder.
Oh, please, I'm not interested in the year of the flood, madam.
And Your Honor,
Well,
there was no...
No, Your Honor, it caused me paralysis, his grabbing
Okay,
me. I
okay.
have no
Right
damage.
now you look just fine. But he gave you...
And the judge just never have time for anything. She don't be caring, I promise you.
Dude, this is
Because
all
I didn't press
fabricated.
charges. I tried to protect you.
You admitted to the police, sir, that you last snorted the meth earlier that evening.
Hey, at this point, that's all she care about. She ain't gonna let that meth thing go.
Down the wrong path there. And
Fine, well then what you
you
did,
know.
sir, you went down the wrong path, and what happened is...
But the drugs have not...
No, listen to me. You went down the wrong path, sir, and what happened when you go down the wrong path and you snort drugs earlier in the evening, your behavior changes.
Mm-hmm.
Even your memory.
So yeah, that meth just lost in the case pretty much, as we can all see.
That she set you up that night.
She did.
That she came to take you to dinner,
Mm-hmm.
and she drove you home to her house, and then she ran outside and screamed for the police so that she could have you arrested. If that's really what you think, I feel sorry for you. If that's what you want me to believe, I feel sorry for me. Because it's not what happened, sir.
Well, Your Honor,
What happened is you got into an argument with her. You were behaving irrationally. You were a little bit sweaty. I don't know what your circumstance is as we stand here today, and I'm certainly not going to ask you. But I will tell you that night, you were acting a little bit irrationally. She went outside and screamed for somebody to call the police. And you got busted, and you got busted for either a disturbance at her home and or the drug possession. You probably pled guilty to the drug possession. Is that a fair statement?
Well, Miss Howells was arrested for marijuana that evening.
Did
and
you?
She was partying with me.
Did you plead guilty to the drug possession?
Yes, I did.
So that's over.
Yeah.
So that part is...
I haven't tried
That part is over with. As part of what happened in the course of that evening, sir, you bruised her very badly. Because
No.
you didn't want to get... Oh, yeah, you did.
That picture could be from anything. If she was injured, wouldn't she have told the police that night when I was arrested?
A black and blue mark like that doesn't come out 2 seconds later. It comes out, that's what happened. You grabbed her inside. You mean you didn't punch her? She didn't say, he punched me, he kicked me in the back, he threatened to stab me. He said you grabbed her by the arm, which you did, in order to take her inside to shut her up. You were acting irrationally. I don't think that she was seriously injured that night. I don't believe that. But I believe she was injured sufficiently enough to cost you $1,099, which is the cost of the engagement ring. So your claim is dismissed, as is your counterclaim. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I feel like this is a defeat for men that have women abusing the legal system to get material things from...
I hope you guys enjoyed that funny sexist. He was funny to me. Thank you guys for tuning in. Put your shoes back on. Change the channel back in tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.